What's something that's heavily outdated, but you love using anyway, assuming you could, in theory, replace that thing? A physical calculator. Especially the adding machine variety with big numbers that make clicking noises. I don't know why, but smartphone calculators suck IMO. Even in horizontal mode, it's much less convenient than the calculator I used in school, which I still use to this day. With physical buttons I make less typos, and also, it's much easier to do stuff with fractions or exponentials. I still use the clock radio alarm that my mom got me in 8th grade because I kept sleeping in. I'm 37 and it's still the only alarm obnoxious enough to reliably wake me up. I'm 39 and realized this morning I've had my alarm clock since high school. Same here, and I'm 46. Handwriting diaries. I find that my hand gets tired easily now though. Keep writing. Don't want your hand to get so easily tired. Alarm clock. I figure most people just use the alarm on their phone and set it next to their pillow, but I like having one across the room. I can just look up at night and see the time, and I have to physically get up and turn the alarm off, so I never worry about oversleeping. Pre-war Singer sewing machine. Got from a flea market, the only modern part is a small electric motor I installed on it. I'm also pretty sure that thing could survive atmospheric re-entry. Edit. Wah, thanks for the awards. D. Some people asked about the motor. Despite being pedal-powered, my Singer already had the mounting points for a small electric motor, it was just a matter of finding one that fits. Which wasn't hard, considering how famous Singer machines are. There are several brands of motors made to adapt on vintage machines, so I have a 1930s machine with a 1990s motor. The PS2 is pretty old now, but I still think it's brilliant. It had so many games, including one of my personal favorite PS2 games in The Simpsons Hit and Run. I would even go so far as to say that the PS2 is probably the best console ever made. The only one I can think of that can measure up is the SNES. It also had almost complete backwards compatibility with PS1 stuff, including the ability to read PS1 memory cards. So you could basically play any game from both the PS1 and PS2 eras on the PS2. And it was a DVD player. At the time, standalone DVD players cost almost the same as the PS2. If you wanted to watch DVD movies and had any or anyone remotely interested in video games, it was a no-brainer purchase choice. An actual calendar planner. I don't know why, I just don't feel like typing out on my smartphone. I'm just so used to decades of using planners to write down when I work, what I have to do, birthdays, vacations, events, etc. Not gonna lie, the best part for me is having an excuse to buy colored gel pens and stickers. I much prefer a calendar book each year, as opposed to using the calendar feature on my phone. I honestly feel like my planner is the safest place for my information these days. Plus you can look at the month and with color coding, know what you need to do each week. However, on a smartphone you have to click each date to see what the dots refer to. They are color coded, but I don't remember which doctor app it is for. I use and collect fountain pens since I was younger 25 now. And I never enjoy using other writing utensils. Something about writing with fountain pens are so enjoyable for me that convenience doesn't matter. I went to grammar school in Germany and we used fountain pens. There is nothing like it. iPod Classic 120 gigs. I've got about 7,000 songs uploaded, and about 3,000 of those songs were uploaded from CDs that I've owned from with span of about 15 years. I still use my iPod Nano 2nd Gen in the car. Only has 4 GB, but still holds a decent amount of songs, mostly old school hip-hop. It's nice to have a piece of tech that was designed for one purpose only. I have the same exact thing, with the same kind of music, only I use it when I rollerblade. How cool can I get? Yes. I have the 160. My husband teases me because I still buy CDs to load onto it. I use it at work with Bose wired headphones. Best thing ever. The best part about having the physical disc can't be changed or taken. Once you own a disc, you have that song as long as you have the disc. No having a favorite song album artist going from a free service to a paid one, or leaving altogether. You have it forever. I'm surprised I had to scroll this far to see this. There's just something different about having all your music and nothing else in one place. My 1940s Sunbeam Radiant toaster. Found the technology connections guy. It's right next to the Laserdisc player. Measuring spoons my mom gave me when I went to college. I'm 61 years old. Edit. Wow. This is kind of amazing. Never expected this kind of response, much less any response at all. Now, if only I could post a pic. Be safe, my stranger best friends. Edit 2. Thank you so much for the awards, I'm not worthy. I bet they're metal. I hate the plastic ones that are sold today. The numbers wear off and they seem to get sticky, which is gross. I'm sure there are fancy ones I could buy, but I miss my mom's measuring spoons. Even Sharpie has stayed on my plastic ones better than whatever was used to print on them. Paper sticky notes. I write thoughts down as they come to mind and stick these things on the walls, on my car's dashboard, on the fridge, on my 6-year-old son, etc. As a business owner, I can confirm these are a godsend. I have sticky notes everywhere. A treadle sewing machine from the 50s, it's the most trustworthy thing I own, and so simple in design, it's easy to fix if something happens to it. Electric machines are too complicated for their own good. Alternatively, a belt-driven machine from the same era is basically a treadle machine with an electric motor. I recently bought one, and I'm fixing it up. My Nintendo DS Lite. There's nothing wrong with the Switch, of course. People have used emulators to play the older Pokémon games, but it doesn't feel the same as holding the console. Edit. Holy, I did not expect this many responses. I'm glad to know so many people share my nostalgia. Thank you for the awards. I prefer taking notes on a paper pad and an eyeball pen. I can type over 100 WPS, it just sticks in my head better when I write it. Plus, there's something cathartic about doodling in the margins when there's no substance to what's being said. Edit. 100 WPM. No, I'm not a robot. I'm old. I took typing on an IBM Electric in 7th grade in 1981. At that time I peaked at 42 WPM, also second fastest in the class behind 45 WPM. All my adult life I just assumed I typed about 45. But 20 years ago I was a graphic designer and copywriter. I apparently got faster without putting any effort into it. I took one of those online speed typing tests and topped it out at 102. I'll admit most days I'm probably just in the high 80s though. It is nice being able to compose at nearly the speed of speech though. Downloading music into storage compared to streaming from apps or preloading songs on the app for offline streaming. As someone who keeps my music library all on my .comer and just copies it to my phone, I was heartbroken when Google Play Music got canned recently. It was perfect for just listening from a local library. It had streaming features, but I never used that. Music downloaded on your phone or PC is best, no ads, no internet connection required. Same here. I don't want to use YouTube Music ugh. I was just starting to get my collection back together too. I'm still mad about this. I downloaded all my music on GPM for offline listening, and now I don't know how to go about that on YouTube Music. I don't like it at all. Just use the app that comes with your phone or VLC. I listen to downloaded songs all the time on my phone, and I've never even used GPM, since the apps that are pre-installed on Android are usually pretty good and very intuitive. Not using a bread maker or mixer with a dough hook for bread. The most high-tech item I use is a spatula for the first bit, then it is all by hand. I love baking bread and I've done 2 batches a week for years now. The kneading part is very therapeutic, I love the feeling of it changing in my hands as the gluten develops. Though I don't bake it anywhere near as often as you do. I love that feeling too. Like at that point where it stops sticking to the countertop at all, then starts to feel smooth, then it starts to feeling like it's pushing back when you need it. I love it so much. I feel like I'm interrupting a scandalous moment, but I am intrigued. Physical whiteboards. I don't care how slick Zoom's feature of the same name gets, it will never replace the convenience of whipping out a marker and sketching some ideas out freehand. As soon as I started my degree I got a whiteboard to do math and physics on, and I'll never go back. I find I make way less mistakes than on paper because I can really space out my work. Same. I hung a classroom-size whiteboard in my apartment during my bachelor's degree that I took from behind a school dumpster. That thing was the best way to work my physics problems and then eventually coding problems. During my bachelor's degree that I took from behind a school dumpster still sounds better than my school. Notebooks, though most of them just sit empty on my shelves looking pretty. I'm glad to see that someone else out there just collects notebooks because they're pretty. Snail mail. I know email and texts are quicker, and I still use those too. But nothing beats getting a letter in the mail. Seeing your own name, handwritten, from someplace else is just touching in a way. When my husband and I first got married and I moved many states away, my mom began writing me long chatty letters. She wrote them for almost 25 years, up to the unfinished one on her desk when she died. They weren't amazingly unique, but it helped me feel home and to remember who I was at heart through early years of marriage and motherhood and my husband's military career. Books. I just can't read on Kindles or my phone or anything. Same. Also, I'm the type of reader that likes to go back several pages sometimes, just to maybe check a small detail mentioned earlier or something similar, so audiobooks wouldn't really be ideal either. This is why I still purchase actual textbooks. You can't flip through an ebook very well at all. It's terrible and takes too long and you lose your place. It's a hindrance. Though you can use a search function to look for a keyword and sometimes a bookmark function to keep your place, depending on what you are using to read it, I like both ebooks and physical books myself. Mechanical watch. It feels like a little piece of rebellion to have such an inherently outdated but beautiful technology with me constantly. I have a legit German Black Forest mechanical cuckoo clock. It was not cheap, but definitely worth every penny. The ticking puts me to sleep in the late afternoon. IMO most expensive mechanical watches are paid for the level of art and painstakingly small details perfected. Smartwatches? Firstly, fragile. Second, I don't want calls on my watch. Third, there is something about an actual second's hand ticking away. OFC, I love smartwatches, but I am taking a premium watch over a smartwatch any day. Edit, please don't get mad at my comment. I loved my Apple Watch series too. Saving up for a Series SE, so chill. Old.reddit.com. Even though it's outdated, I much prefer using it to the redesign. Oh man, I forgot about the redesign. When it happened, I immediately configured my account to use the old layout and never looked at the redesign again. I had forgotten it even happened. The old way is still the standard in my head. I'd forgotten most people see something else when they load Reddit. Weird. Same here. I hopped on Reddit on my work computer and promptly fucked off when I saw the redesign. I miss the Reddit of 5 to 10 years ago. Remember when Reddit was the place to be for live news updates before they changed the algorithm? Or when it wasn't censored to hell? Pepperidge Farms remembers. I really miss it too. It used to be if anything big happened in the world, you'd hear about it immediately on Reddit. Now I have to hear it on the news. I used to feel so involved with the world, it was truly remarkable.